NRL round 8, done and dusted. New Zealand Warriors going down to the Titans. Very frustrating game. Let's take a look how the Titans managed to get this done. Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic. Bit of a belated effort here. Not sure too many people will probably take the time to watch this, but I've got to get it done. Heading back to Japan fairly shortly, so I wanted to spend a bit of this long weekend with the whānau, so I didn't have too much time to watch the game, and I didn't want to do this review until I'd actually gone back and watched it again without the emotion, because shit, it pissed me off live. Finally got that done last night, so I thought I'd put this together this morning. Before I get on to the game though, I really want to take a couple of minutes to give a massive shout out to our Harold Mats boys. No team has ever made the grand final in their inaugural year in the championship, much less won it. Started out a bit rough there, couple of early tries conceded, good play there from West, but our boys just never took their foot off the accelerator, never stopped putting pressure on. They were clinical, they did everything we'd want from our top team. I don't really want to call out individuals because I thought just the whole squad this season has really stepped up. But four names that have stood out to me, particularly the first two throughout the season, is Carwyn Patterson, the young hooker and captain. He's a very calm head, very good quality player. I think we'll see a lot of him going forward. Lennox Tuiloma, what an absolute powerhouse for a kid his size. He's not very big at all, but he reminds me of a young Cam Murray. Just the power to weight ratio to get that final try with four guys on him. Our halfback, Thompson, that we got over from the Knights halfway through the season, geez, he's got some speed. And Ratcliffe, the fullback, some really X factor there as well. Tough part about this is everyone really wants to keep all these young fellas, but in reality, probably one, maybe two of these guys will play first grade for us. Maybe one or two might make it at another club. You can't keep them all. Now with four junior teams in our club, they don't all fit into one first grade team, particularly when you've got young guys who you're going to see in first grade for a very long time. Guys like Alila Toa, Rocco Berry, they've still got a long way to go in their career if they decide to stay with our team. So it's very hard to find spots. But I think you'll find one or two of these guys will definitely make it there eventually. And I think Webby would have had a good look at this and know he's going to keep. But in the meantime, guys, be very, very proud of yourselves. Just an absolutely outstanding effort. I couldn't praise you more. Enjoy the next couple of weeks. I'm sure you get a bit of attention at school and it should be well deserved. Up the mighty young Wars. And also a quick note, SG Ball Boys getting a win over the Panthers in the weekend. It was really nice to see. And a 22-all draw against the Panthers as well for our Cup guys. 1 point to note there, Adam Pompey playing in the second row. Adds a little bit of variety if he can make that happen. And from the Jersey flag, I was really happy to see Etuate Fukuoka coming back into the mix after that head knock against the Tigers in the preseason. He's one of the most exciting prospects for me in the club. His ability at hooker there, great pass, kick, both in play and kicking goals, really solid in defence. I'd love to see him get up into Cup again this season and put a bit of pressure on Freddie Lussick. Rightio, on to the big boys. Look, I'm just going to quickly gloss over these stats. 24, 26 to them. Very, very frustrating. Another game we could have, should have won. And these stats are going to reflect that. 52% of possession we had. 29 minutes in possession. They only had 26. 87% completion rate, more than enough to win a game. But well done to the Titans. They were clinical at 92% completion rate. We had 23 more runs than them. We ran for about 200 more meters. We ran for 150 more post-contact meters. They had 2 more line breaks and about 8 more tackle breaks than us. Average meters per set, we ran for 9 more meters, 49 meters per set versus their 40. Kick return meters, 267 versus 140. That's a reflection on us being in better field position, them having to kick from deep, Chan's getting a lot of free air before he meets the defensive line. Total kicking meters reflect that as well, 856 meters kicked by them, just 656 for us. Kick defusal wasn't too bad for us this week, not great for them. Just the one grubber. Tackle efficiency, 85% overall, but shit, in some key positions, our tackle efficiency was right down in the weekend. Theirs was really good, 88%. Total tackles made, they made 367. We only had to make 340. That constant effort of trying to kick deep and get in them to work out off their own line there, tie them out, wait for the errors. The errors didn't come from them this week. What did they have there? They only had 7 errors. We only had 9, which is better than the 14 and 15 we've been giving. Penalties really killed us. The errors didn't kill us this week. It was the penalties. I've got to say, at least 3 of those weren't actually really clear penalties. I think the refs gave them a bit of a piggyback there. They didn't cost us the game, but we shouldn't be putting them in a position. Laban's, that wasn't a strip. His hand was off the ball before he dropped it. It's so frustrating. The penalties for holding down in the ruck when they really even aren't. Jacob Laban's one, that was very 50-50, but we're putting ourselves in a position to do that. So the whole game plan, we're trying to play that Penrith game plan where we kick down into a corner, fatigue them out, wait for errors, and then be clinical when we get that chance to convert on the errors. The opposition aren't making the errors. We're giving them piggyback penalties, so we can't put on that pressure. Net result, we're letting them get up and over us through our errors or through our penalties, and we're constantly chasing games, and we're the ones who are ending up fatigued. Key point for me, I'm going to read these out here just for you all. When I went back and watched this the second time, it's quite obvious. Some of our key players, the fatigue showing with their missed tackles. Chance, 4 missed tackles. Dallin, 1 ineffective tackle, but some poor defensive reads. Rocco, 2 missed tackles, 3 ineffective. RTS, 2 missed tackles, 1 ineffective. Montoya, 1 missed tackle. Tamati Martin, 4 missed tackles, 2 ineffective. SJ, 7 missed tackles, 1 ineffective. AFB, 4 missed tackles, 1 ineffective. We don't see that from him. Egan, 6 missed tackles, 2 ineffective. Mitch Barnett, 4 missed tackles, 1 ineffective. Jackson, 3 missed tackles, 1 ineffective. Laban, 2 missed tackles. Tohu, 2 ineffective tackles. Dylan Walker, 3 missed tackles, 1 ineffective. And Ali, 1 missed tackle. And Zion Mau with no misses, no ineffective. During that second period of the first half, we just let them get on rolls through the middle. We couldn't control the ruck. Then allowing guys like Brimson to just carve us up through the middle. So you've got to give a lot of this to the Titans, though. Their defense was absolutely clinical on their line, but we didn't challenge it. I find it frustrating with this current game plan that we don't, when we get on the back foot, we still stick to that structured kick down, tie them out, where I think we need to start spinning it wide earlier. Try and put some shape on them around halfway where there's a little bit more space for guys like RTS, but we're just not getting it done. Straight up the middle, straight up the middle. And when we do spin it wide, there's no shape there. When we were in their attacking zone that last 15 minutes, we didn't put one play on where we put both double runners at their line. We know that their left-hand edge has really poor defense, but we didn't hit them with the double runners. Is that because we had Jackson on the wrong side? Not sure. But no shape whatsoever on our left-hand side. Every time we got the ball there, RTS was so deep, Tamati Martin was either going to have to pass it back 2 or 3 meters and lose momentum or run it himself. A lot of people have been critical of Tamati Martin for that, but someone's obviously telling RTS to stand that deep. Shit, I don't know. It's really frustrating because we're dominating a lot of the key areas of the game, but the thing that's fucking us up is those piggyback penalties or errors and not being able to defend them. Very frustrating to see Dallin jam in there on Kelly for their first try and just leave Khan Pereira completely unmarked out wide when Rocco had Kelly well and truly tackled. Silly stuff like that. I don't know. Very frustrating. But let's quickly take a run through these players. I'm not going to get into too much detail here. And it's tough. You go back and watch it the second time. No one played like complete mud, even though we saw some poor areas of certain players' games. They all did work hard, and a lot of their fundamentals they did well. So Chance, I gave him a 7.5 this week because he missed a couple of tackles. But 80 minutes, 26 runs, 289 metres, 94 post contact again, 1 try, 1 line break assist, 4 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, just 2 tackles and no errors. Had we won, I probably would have given him a 9 because I wouldn't have focused so much on the missed tackles, but shit. It's tough not to, and people probably think I'm over scoring these guys. So he played pretty well. Dallin, I gave him a 6.5. He played 80 minutes, 18 runs for almost 200 metres, 195 metres, 76 post contact, 5 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, one of them a complete brain fade, which led to a try that we couldn't defend, 9 tackles, 75%. But might not have missed the tackles, but he made some stupid reads, 2 errors. So, a senior player like him, I don't understand why we haven't been able to get that an effective jamming out of his and Montoya at times play. I honestly don't know. I feel like sometimes we do need to drop someone to bring in a guy like Ali Lautoa with his X factor. I think we really need when we're starting to get on the back foot. We need that player who can pull something out of nothing. We don't really have it at the moment. Maybe just RTS. And who do you drop? Geez, I don't know. Dallon's work with his running would be bloody hard to drop, even though I gave him a 6.5. But I feel like I'd like to sneak Ali in and maybe move RTS to a wing to give him a bit more space. Rocco Berry, I didn't notice him go off for a minute, but he only played 79 according to the NRL website. Yeah, 6 runs, 43 metres. Still got to get him involved a little more in attack. 17 post contact, 1 try, 1 offload, 23 tackles. But what did he have? I said there, 2 misses, 3 ineffective. 2 of those really costly. 1 error, 1 penalty. So I gave him a 6.5 for that miss on Kelly to let in the try after Dallon's cock up, throwing the ball backwards and losing it. And I really would have hoped they could have put a better shot on Fafita, but he got that offload to set up a try as well. So people going hard out on Rocco, but by no means did he do enough to be dropped. His contribution in the kick chase and general in his defence, his competitiveness to get up there and score that try. People who watch this on an emotive level or a superficial level might claim that, but anyone who sits here and watches the game with any depth is not going to drop Rocco anytime soon. RTS, 80 minutes, 15 runs, 182 metres, 77 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, 11 tackles, 78%, 1 error. I gave him a 7. Something's not quite working. Like, he's doing great runs like Dallon to get us out of trouble, but we're just not able to unlock him. And I don't understand why he's standing so deep and basically straight behind Tamati Martin. It just means that maybe we're trying to give him that more space by him standing deeper. I don't know, but it just seems that we can't unlock it with the way that's happening in the moment. We'll get on to him as well, Tamati Martin. He does take a couple of steps laterally before he gets the pass away. That maybe runs him out of room, but I don't know. I don't think Webby's going to make a change because he's always talking about, what's he going to be like after 16 rounds, but I don't know. Montoya, again, he didn't do much wrong. 80 minutes, 16 runs, 144 metres, 48 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 2 tackles at 77%, 2 errors. Gave him 7 because he did his fundamentals, but I feel like he runs too directly at the players. Wish he had a late step or something on to try and get on the inside shoulder, help him maybe make a little bit more post contact meters or something. I don't know. I don't think either him or Dallin are that bad that you drop them. And if you did, like I said, I'd love to see Ali Lauta come into the wing, into centre, and shift RTS to the wing, but I don't know how you could drop one of these two or which one you would drop. I mean, I'm sure people have got their opinions, but I don't know. Tamati Martin, another guy who's getting a lot of shit on social media from people watching it live and getting emotive about him not being able to unlock the left-hand side. He doesn't get a huge amount of ball. SJ's so dominating with that, and when he gets it, it's not in shape. Like I said, it's predominantly when we're shifting left, the play of the ball is in the left third of the field. So we're getting no space to put on any shape. So it's literally 1 out or just a 1 pass to Roger and he's running straight into the defenders. With SJ being off sick or off with this sore leg and not training, I don't understand why we haven't tried to work on more left side shape. It's not all on Tamati. One of the plays there in the weekend, if he'd thrown the pass, the RTS got pissed off he didn't get it. There's a fair chance it could have got intercept. So he does a lot of effort areas, chasing, making like scrambling tackles, falling on loose balls. If you really watch him, he does a lot of quality stuff, but just doesn't do the big flashy runs like Metcalf, which I think maybe we need at the moment. Someone to sort of break things open when we're on the back foot. I gave him a 7 because of his effort areas. SJ, look, if I was marking his performance on a normal halfback, I probably would have given him an 8.5, but I gave him a 6.5. Just 8 runs for 42 metres, which is a reflection of something that's not right with that foot. Kicks I couldn't complain about, 23 for 644 metres. 2 try assists, 3 line break assists, but it was a defence, 7 tackles with 7 missed and 1 ineffective. I just don't know whether he's able to make that last minute adjustment because of not wanting to put the weight on the Achilles, or whether he's not able to drive in as much, which is leaning forward and putting stress on the Achilles, but just not able to really get that defense up into the high 90% tackle efficiency and not able to unlock that shape. Is that all on him? I don't know, but he's a senior half, taking the ball in his hands the most often, so I feel like I've got to put a little bit of pressure on him to maybe unlock that attack a little bit more and make some better calls, because he will be the one calling the moves. Hope he gets a week off and it's enough to settle down their Achilles. Maybe they look to take the punt and rest him against the Knights. We really don't want to lose another one, but Knights being down on Ponga, I'm not sure who they bring in instead of him, but we've got to get that Achilles right so he can be playing at full fitness, because we're going to struggle without it. Adam Fanua-Blake, came close to giving him a 7.5 based on the attacking, the defense stats, and the fact that we lost the middle a little while there, in the back half of the first half. 61 minutes, so it's good to see him playing a few less minutes here. 20 runs, 217 metres, 98 post contact, 2 tries, 2 line breaks, 2 tackle breaks, 27 tackles at only 84%, 10% down on what he's used to. 1 error. And what I really loved is like just the angry running, coming deep, running into contact at full speed instead of jogging with that laced set. It's been a bugbear for me, but you can see that he's getting frustrated and he's putting that extra speed into his attack. And as I say, I marked him down by a point because we lost that middle. We never see him miss that many tackles. So yeah, but when they came, both him and Mitch Barnett came back on their second stint, the impact was so much I had to give them 8s even in losing sides. Yeah, Fonzie posted some stats this weekend on Twitter, and he's done it recently. I think we've won every game while he's been on the field and lost the minutes that he's been off. So it just shows you the impact that he does have. Wade Egan didn't have his best game, 80 minutes again. I think what we saw from him was a sign of fatigue. Just 4 runs, 28 metres, 1 tackle break, 1 offload, 50 tackles, but what did he have? 6 misses, 2 ineffective. They ran some big boys at him all day. Made it really challenging for him. 1 error, the penalty. And his passing wasn't on song. The amount of times that he put the ball onto the ground and missing his lead runner. Very un-Wade Egan-like, but again, it's probably a sign of fatigue. Not the best advertisement for State of Origin, but Api Carthel injuring his back in the weekend. Don't know how bad that is. Probably just a cork, so he should be back this week. But if he's not, Wade Egan probably looking more like he may play State of Origin, which he probably doesn't need with the amount of minutes going through his body at the moment. Freddie Lussick's last week is suspension this week, so he's an option to come onto the bench from the Dolphins. Mitch Barnett, 57 minutes, 18 runs, 195 metres, 110 post contact though from his 195 metres, well over 50% post contact with just 1 tackle break. Shows that he's driving through and dragging people through the tackles. 1 offload, 25 tackles, 83%. Again, unlike him, he's usually well up into the 90s. I gave him an 8 out of 10 as well, even though we lost that middle for a while. His aggression and defense is what turned the game, I think, in the second half and gave us a bit of momentum. So I've always got to give him a bit of recognition for that, but I feel like, why isn't that happening? Maybe he's gone off during that period, and that's something that we're missing when we start to lose that middle. Even though we tend to lose the points a lot when AFB's off, or concede a lot of points when AFB's off, but Again, hard to ask too much more from Mitch Barnett. Jackson Ford, I thought he had one of his best games in a while, 80 minutes on the wrong side, 13 runs, 130 metres, 53 post contact, 4 tackle breaks, 43 tackles at 92%. So Edges and Tohu tackled quite well. Much better tackle efficiency. No errors, no penalties from him this week, which is all we could have asked for him. People have given him so much shit about that for the past couple of weeks. He's gone error-free, so I was really happy with his game playing in an unfamiliar side. Handled David Fafita pretty well when he came on. So all in all, not too many complaints from him, and I probably would have given him a 9 if we'd won. Jacob Laban. Overall, I liked his play. Only played 45 minutes, 5 runs for 30 metres, so we're probably not trying to use him too much as an attacking weapon at the moment, but 11 post-contact metres, 1 line break assist, 1 tackle break, 1 offload, 17 tackles at 90%, 2 penalties conceded. So the defence I loved. Put on a couple of really big hits. He nailed Mo Fotuaika one-on-one, put him on his ass very nicely, but giving away those penalties, I looked at it in slow motion. He got his hand off the ball before the guy dropped it. But anything that looks like a ripping motion and the guy loses the ball in the tackle, he's going to get pinged second week in a row. Just can't give away those penalties, brother. But I gave him a 7. I thought he did a really hardy effort there. Just the minus a point or so for the penalties. Tohu Harris, 62 minutes, 14 runs for 107 metres, 46 post contact. Tackle break, 38 tackles at 95%. Good to see his percentage up there. No errors. I gave him an 8. And this is because a lot of this lack of ability to handle adversity has to come down to the captain. I watched him live. He doesn't talk as much as he needs to. He's got to find a way to get in there and turn these boys around when we concede 1 try and not letting them get back-to-back or 2 or 3 tries on us unanswered, which means we're constantly chasing the game. It's not all down to him. We've got other senior players there, but as a captain, I really need him to step up and take a proactive part in turning that around on the field. Getting to the bench, Dylan Walker, 62 minutes, 12 runs, 107 metres, 27 post contact, 1 try assist, 1 line break assist, 1 tackle break, 1 offload, 38 tackles at 91%. I gave him a 7.5 because it's probably unfair. He got his ankle twisted, and I hope it's not the same one he's been struggling with all season. And he was limping it off, and I think that just dropped down his ability slightly to have that massive dynamic impact he always brings. Like, his numbers were all really good, but I just felt it was maybe 5 or 10% down on what we normally expect from him. So I gave him a 7.5 rather than 8. I hope that ankle's okay and it's not the same one he's re-injured and it causes him to miss another week or so, because we really need that experience and the impact off the bench. Tom Ale, I thought he was serviceable. 29 minutes, just 4 runs for 43 metres, 21 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, but 19 tackles at 95%. Unfortunately, not quite as dominating and aggressive tackles as we see from Mitch and AFB, which is probably one of the reasons we lose a little bit of momentum. We're struggling to hold them down in the ruck. Guys falling forward rather than being able to get them on their back. So that's why I just gave them the 7, even though it was serviceable. Zion Maiu, 13 minutes, 7 runs, 77 metres, 39 post-contact metres, 5 tackle breaks, 5 tackles at 100%. I gave him an 8 because it's debut and I could not have asked for anything more. The energy that he hit the line with, the energy that he brought out in the crowd who were so excited to see him. I think he lifted players around him. Just a really high energy player. He didn't seem overwhelmed. He's a little bit conservative in his tackling, and I think, he's probably a little bit worried about putting that big hit on or going for that big hit and messing it up again. So we could have seen a few more tackles from him. But overall, I thought he was really serviceable, and someone that we really should be looking to give bigger minutes to start to get him that experience off the bench. Paul Roach not getting any game time, so I didn't review him. So overall, my key area of concern is that second period in the first half. When we concede a try, we're conceding 2 or 3 unanswered tries. How do we turn that around? What's causing that? It's really hard to see. Being a little bit passive in defense, but it's always coming down to errors or piggyback penalties that give them the field position. We just seemed like 40 minutes of that game, we couldn't get close to putting on any attacking shape in their 30, much less 20. And that's coming down to those errors and the penalties this week. Only single figure errors compared to 14 or 15, but still, they're coming at the wrong time. One big question for me, I guess, is what we do with our bench if Kate Bar comes back. I'd be kind of curious to see him and Laban start and have Jackson on the bench and use him as an impact player. I think you can use him for the middle in a similar role to or an impact if you need to, like what Dylan Walker does. He'll also bring on like that energy to a slightly tiring pack after maybe 30 minutes of the first half. I think Jacob Laban's more than capable of holding up in there, and if he's playing well, maybe you can leave him on an edge and bring Jackson into the middle to defend when Mitch Barnett goes off, rather than having to put a Tohu into prop. I'm not sure. I'd definitely look to see Zion stay on that bench and see if he can continue to have that impact. Tom Ali will benefit from having more minutes. So I'm basically saying depending how bad SJ's foot is, I think Wade Egan could probably play another 80 minutes against the Knights off the back of a 10-day turnaround. I'd take the punt and I'd go for the three big players on the bench rather than playing Paul Roach. If you're probably only using them there as injury cover, take the punt. That if you have to, you put Dylan Walker at hook or at half if one of those guys get injured. If not, looking for them to play at the 80 minutes and then just using our big fellas through the middle and on an edge. Look, I don't know. I'm sure Webby and that will be having a good look at it. I really want us to figure out how to use our left-hand shape a little bit better, particularly if SJ can't train this week. For me, it's a must-win. Dolphins looking like a game that we can probably do all right in, but then we get into the Chooks and the Panthers before the bye, who are going to be a real challenge because we still won't have our guys back from injury. We've got to get at least 2 wins before the bye. If not, it's going to be a real struggle to get back up in contention for the top 4, because we know if we don't really have a chance at the grand final. And this is one of these years we're going all in while we've still got AFB here. So this is where it's really got to start to happen and prove that we can mix it up and turn this season around. Up the mighty wires, I'm still in. Hope you guys are. See you again tomorrow for Team List Tuesday.